So by any chance, have any of you been using the NCLEX-RN Mastery App? Here's my impression of it. So for any of you who have looked or even heard about the NCLEX-RN Mastery App, I just want to share with you my impressions of it. Maybe I'll come back to this topic and do a review of it once I've taken the exam and then see how well the app helped me with my exam, but for now I just want to share with you what my impressions are of the app. So NCLEX-RN Mastery App, it's for the Android and for the iOS. I first heard about it when I was in college, but of course because the style of the questions was different, I didn't really use it much and it didn't really help so much at the time when I was in nursing school. And for those of you who don't know, my nursing school, I went to the Philippines. Okay, so things about the app. Within the app, there are mnemonics. So if there's a particular topic, they might have a mnemonic for it to help you memorize or remember something about the said topic. There's also things about vocabulary, so if you're not so good on your terms as far as what does things like ecteric refer to, or what does rhabdo refer to, or meiosis, things like that. That part of the app helps you, recall those things and brush up on those things. Questions are overall good. At the time of the making of this video, I believe the app has over 1,800 questions. So it's quite a lot. For me, the way I go through the questions is that I go through systems. So per day, I go through a different system, or maybe 2 or 3 days, whatever. And I just go to that app and I only do a particular session. Overall, I think the appearance, the interface of the app is pretty well, it's pretty solid. If anything, I would want to keep a calculator nearby because there's no in-app calculator. So for the dosage calculations, you have to have your own calculator on the side, or if you just want to open your app. So that's one thing to be mindful about when you use the app. I'm fairly new to Android this year, so I just noticed the differences between the apps and how they work. It just seems like Apple or iOS is a lot cleaner than Android for a good amount of their apps. I would say that the iOS version is a lot cleaner and a lot nicer than the Android version. The customer service for the app, they actually listen to you. I gave feedback about how you answer the questions because in the iOS version, when you select an answer, the answer is highlighted. But when you go to the Android version, it used to be that when you selected the answer, you wouldn't know what answer you selected because it's not highlighted. So by the time that you had to look at the rationale and see what the right answer was, especially if it's select all that apply, you might not remember which answer you picked. But they did fix that in the update. Unfortunately, I can't even open the app anymore. So now I just stick to using the app on my iOS. Overall, I do like the app. I do like looking at my percentages and seeing how well I fare. If anything, I don't really use the pre-test section. I just continue doing questions from other question banks. But when I'm on the go, I do use NCLEX-RN Mastery as a last resort. The rationales could be a little bit better, but it's sufficient enough for some things. I think as of this moment, I think I have less than 300 questions left in the question bank. Going through the question bank, I start to notice that their questions do enforce the content, or at least like core content that you may need to know for the NCLEX. I think a good amount of my questions that I got wrong are questions that refer to things that I hardly ever heard about. As far as the NCLEX-RN Mastery App is against the NCLEX-RN exam itself, for as long as I've had the app, I've never finished the question bank at all. My biggest mistake in how I use the app is that I studied, or at least I remember the answers as opposed to the rationales. So get to knowing the rationales, not the answer. The answer can always change. One of my mom's coworkers said that they hardly use any other books or any other contents, but they just use the NCLEX-RN Mastery App and they passed. Me, I thought I would be competent enough, maybe around like 50%. No, that doesn't work too well, no. For me, I want to be sure that I have good exposure to different kinds of questions in different question banks. So I have a book, I have eWorld, and I have the NCLEX-RN Mastery App. But for me, I just don't want to rely on just one because I don't feel so confident, especially just in the NCLEX-RN Mastery itself. At the moment, I only see the NCLEX-RN Mastery App as sort of like a reinforcer for, a lecture that you just listened to for the day. But as far as using the app solely for your exam, I wouldn't recommend it. But without a doubt, it's definitely handy to have when you're on the go. As far as finances are concerned with the app, if you have the app long enough, sometimes it'll give you notifications about their deals about having like 50% off for like a holiday or whatever. And that would definitely be the best time to buy the app. Do I think the app is worth it? Yeah. I think the app is worth it. Just as long as you don't only use that app for preparing for the NCLEX. And if you fail the NCLEX like me, the NCLEX-RN Mastery App people, their customer service, they honor their word and they give you a reimbursement should you fail the exam by using their app. Or just using the app by itself didn't help you pass the exam. And that's what they did for me. But I still use the app because I want to get my brain going and so I can keep in mind the core content of nursing stuff. So yeah, that's my impressions of the NCLEX-RN Mastery App. So with that said, review well, rest best, and pray the most. Alright, God bless.